Alright guys, let's just create a class called longest substring with the public static void main method in it. And let's just create our method private static. We need to return a longest substring. Get longest substring, or maybe we can call it get longest consecutive substring. Okay, we will pass in a input string. Okay, and let's just return empty string by default. All right. So whatever string we will receive, we need to convert it into a char array. Okay. So how we gonna do it? Input dot to character array. Okay. So now this string is converted into character array. What we gonna do next? Okay, let's just handle one scenario wherein the string is passed as empty. Okay, what we can do is if length equals to 0, we are going to return the empty string. Okay, all right. Uh, so like let's just have a sample input here. Okay, maybe A, B, B, triple C, and double D. Let's just deal with it. Okay. Uh, it's always good to keep some examples in mind, okay, in order to verify or in order to, move into a right direction. Okay, let's just write our dear for loop int I is equals to 0, I less than character array dot length, and I do I plus plus. Okay, so we talked about like we will need to keep track of the length of the consecutive substring along with the index from where it is starting so that we can, later do a substring if it is the longest one. All right, so we need a few variables to do that. Let's just declare them. Let's just call it in length is equals to 0. So this is going to keep track of the current length of the consecutive substring which we are dealing with. All right, and then we will have index. We will initialize it with 0 again. Okay, and then we would also need something which can hold our longest length and longest indexes. So let's just call them maybe longest length and longest index. Okay, and then we would also need certain character variables in order to compare the current character in hand with the previous character which we have already, iterated over. So let's just call them the previous character. Okay, followed by, okay, let's just initialize them with also 0. Okay, so that's the sky value which we are taking now. And then we can call it as current character. All right. So because our alphabets will be ranging from A to Z in A to Z, I cannot recall. I think it's from 65 something, right? Uh, 65 plus 26, whatever that is. So we are okay with initializing them with 0, right? Okay. So I think we should be fine with these variables for now. Let's just move on and try to iterate over the string. Okay. So prior to that, what I'll do is I will initialize previous character and the current character to the first character that we have in our character array. Okay, so let's just do that. All right, and our index is already initialized to 0. All right, so now let's just move into the code, the for loop. Okay, so whatever element we will have at the I equals to 0, right? So whenever, so whatever we are iterating, right, we will put it into the current character. Okay, so for this example, we are assigning a to our current character variable. Okay, so which we have already done, right? But let's just do it. And then because we will be moving on with other elements, right? So every time we are iterating over the character array, we are assigning it to the current character, right? And then let's just compare it with our previous character. If both are equal, right? So we have initialized previous character with a as well, and now we have put in a in the current character, and we are saying if previous character is equal to current character. That means if they are, same, which means that we have encountered the consecutive characters. Okay, so what we are going to do, we will just increment the length variable, and then we will assign previous character with the current character, right? All right, so we will come back to this example while iterating. Okay, so this is done. Okay, what happens next? Say for example, what if they are not equal? Okay, so what we are going to do is previous character, if it is not equal to current character, that means we are in this scenario wherein previous character was A and the current character has come out to be B. So what happens in that case? Okay, so what happens in that case? We will assign, right? We will check the length. If the current length is greater than the, sorry, longest length. So if the current length which we have incremented here comes out to be greater than the longest length which we have initially assigned it to 0, right? So that's gonna be a true case. Then what we will do is we will assign the longest length to current length. Okay, and the longest index will become the current index. So the current index was 0 because we want the substring to begin with the index and followed by the length. So we have assigned the longest index with the index. Okay. All right. So we have our length and longest index in places. All right. And then after every iteration, okay, so once we have done this swap, we will go into another iteration. And before we do that, we also need to take care of the reassignments. All right. So if the length, so we need to reset the variables. Okay. So we will reset the length to 1 this time because every other character which we will encounter in this given string will at least have length of 1, right? It will at least have one character. If it is not followed by the consecutive characters, even then its length is going to be 1. Okay, and then the new index will become I, okay, and the previous character again would be our current character. Alright guys, let's just put this code to test. We should return the longest substring here, which is input dot substring, okay, longest index which we have mentioned, followed by longest index plus the longest length. Okay, let's just put the code to test. Have some input. Maybe this is on this one only. Okay, let's just run it and see. Oops, we haven't called our function. All right. Uh, let's just call it triple C. Okay, let's take few more examples. Let's just take ABC. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's just take few more examples. Working fine. Let's just take only one character. What happens in that case? We also take one empty string. Okay, so far we are going good. Let's just try a few more examples. Maybe aabbbc. Okay, so for this input we are getting triple C, which is right. For this one we are getting A again. Okay, aabbbcc, which is right. Um, 1, 2, 3. For the fourth one, we are not getting any response back. And for the fifth one, it's empty, which is fine. And for this one, we are getting AA. All good. We are facing some problem with the single input. Okay, so when we pass in the single input A, right, we should be getting A as the longest substring. Why we are not getting it? Because we are going in here, we are assigning previous character equals to current character, which is true, right? Because we have passed in only A and assigned it to, okay, so that should be true. And then if it is true, right, the length should be 1, okay. Okay, if it is not equals to, we are not, or we can have another condition here. If our element is already reached the last variable, right? So we passed in as input only A, okay, which satisfied this condition, okay. And now we want to test out if not, or we have already reached the last element, we would like to reassign our longest and length and longest index in that case. Okay, so let's just do it. All right, now we are getting the longest substring as A. Yeah, I think this pretty much covers every scenario. Okay, if you find any other violating condition, do let me know in the comments. And if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.